There are certain moments in the ruthless landscape of modern celebrity when the veil of manufactured perfection momentarily drops, exposing the raw, unfiltered shock of those who believe they control every narrative. And according to sources close to the situation, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle just lived through one of those moments. The foundation of this revelation is a newly surfaced, highly controversial clip that allegedly captures the couple's immediate stunned reaction after discovering that the Kardashians, of all people, had systematically removed a batch of viral, compromising photographs that had been circulating across social media platforms. Word from the inside claims Harry was left aghast, and Meghan visibly rigid, not merely because the photos were gone, but because of who had the power to make them vanish. For years, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have battled global media giants and fought the immense power of the British tabloids, believing they understood the highest levels of celebrity damage control. But the alleged intervention by the Kardashian machinery, a family whose mastery of the digital domain is unmatched, hit them like a cold realization. There are different tiers of control, and apparently, they do not sit at the very top. This is where the story begins. Not with a rumor, but with the claim that the Sussexes were not just surprised by the removal, but stunned by the display of pure, surgical, and silent power, executed by a family they viewed as rivals in the American celebrity hierarchy. The removal of the images, described by insiders as a digital purge, was executed with such speed and precision that it left even seasoned media analysts confused. The pictures themselves, according to reports, were highly damaging. They were not typical paparazzi shots, but images that allegedly revealed a glimpse into the Sussexes' highly guarded private life in California. That sharply contradicted the carefully curated image of privacy and tranquility they consistently projected. Sources suggest the content showed moments of stress, intense conversation, and less than glamorous reality. The kind of images that, if left online, would have undermined their carefully constructed brand of serene resilience. For Meghan and Harry, their public image is their currency, their only shield, and their primary source of income through brand deals and platform engagement. The viral photos were an existential threat. They were a crack in the facade, allowing the public a glimpse of a reality they were not meant to see. When the photos first went viral, the Sussex team reportedly sprang into action, using their standard legal channels and public relations contacts to issue takedown notices and attempt to smother the fire. But the speed of the digital spread was overwhelming. They were fighting a losing battle against the sheer volume of reshares and downloads. Then, the stunning reversal occurred. Insiders suggest that within a matter of 4 to 8 hours, a time frame considered impossibly fast in digital cleanup, the main clusters of the photos suddenly disappeared from major platforms, not through legal action, but through coordinated, platform-level interference. The core of the shock for Harry and Meghan, as the new clip allegedly reveals, was the immediate realization that this was not their doing. This was the work of a different, more powerful entity. The whispers suggest that the Kardashians, facing a potential shift in the celebrity hierarchy, allegedly intervened. Why? Because the images, by virtue of their sheer viral spread, were drawing attention away from their own carefully timed digital releases and brand campaigns. The Kardashian brand, built on total control over public perception and media cycles, allegedly saw the Sussex story as an interference and used their unparalleled relationship with the platforms, developed over nearly 2 decades of digital dominance, to enact a complete removal. The alleged clip reportedly shows Meghan instantly recognizing the signature move. She understood the level of access required to execute such a large-scale surgical removal. This was a display of digital royalty, asserting dominance over conventional royalty. The shock was multi-layered for the couple. First, the humiliation of failing to control their own crisis. Second, the alarming awareness that their supposed rivals had the actual keys to the digital kingdom, a power the Sussexes desperately needed but did not possess. And third, the terrifying realization that if the Kardashians could make embarrassing photos vanish, they could just as easily use that same power to keep photos circulating. Or worse, promote a counter-narrative that would be impossible for the Sussexes to fight. The alleged viral clip, while short, is claimed to expose Harry's utter bewilderment. Having never encountered a power structure outside the traditional media control of the British monarchy, and Meghan's deep-seated understanding that they had just been taught a brutal lesson in the new rules of American fame. The monarchy, for all its history, never possessed this kind of instant surgical global control. For Harry, who spent his life watching the palace struggle to contain scandals through slow, methodical statements and legal threats, this rapid-fire display of digital authority was an epiphany. He was reportedly stupefied by the efficiency. For Meghan, who understands the mechanics of Hollywood and celebrity, the shock was recognizing the sheer depth of the Kardashian empire's digital reach, a reach that bypassed all normal legal hurdles and standard platform protocols. The incident immediately shifted the power dynamics of the American celebrity landscape. The Sussexes had entered the United States believing their global fame and royal titles were enough to command attention and respect. The alleged photo purge proved that in the realm of viral content and digital narrative control, they were, shockingly, second tier. The silence that followed the removal was almost as deafening as the photo's initial explosion. Neither the Sussexes nor the Kardashian camp commented. But according to insiders, the message was delivered and received with crystal clarity. In America, especially in the digital sphere, titles mean nothing when measured against complete control of the platform. This was not a fight the Kardashians needed to win publicly. They simply won it surgically and silently, leaving the Sussexes to stare at the screen where the viral images had been, facing the cold reality of their diminished control. The incident of the vanishing viral photos and the alleged clip capturing Harry and Meghan's stunned reaction did more than just clean up a digital mess. It exposed a fundamental flaw in the Sussex brand strategy. Sources close to both the media and celebrity management firms suggest that Harry and Meghan built their American empire on the twin pillars of royal legitimacy and a highly manufactured sense of privacy. They believed the Duke and Duchess titles guaranteed them a certain level of respect, attention, and immunity. However, the Kardashian intervention demonstrated that in the new era of fame, digital dominance, measured by platform access, algorithmic influence, and sheer volume of engagement, trumps titles and traditional celebrity status every single time. This realization, according to insiders, was profoundly unsettling for Meghan, who had meticulously studied the celebrity landscape. She had calculated the value of their royal status precisely, betting that it offered a unique, untouchable position in the American market. But the Kardashians, who rarely grant interviews or rely on traditional media legitimacy, proved that their power flows directly from their ability to manipulate the digital ecosystem. Their brand is the ecosystem. The Sussex brand merely exists on it. The alleged reaction captured in the clip is therefore not just about a few photos disappearing. It is about the sudden, terrifying realization that their entire business model is vulnerable to a surgical strike from a rival they underestimated. For Prince Harry, the shock was far more visceral, rooted in his lifelong conditioning within the British system. In the monarchy, power is defined by protocol, history, and official status. If the British press published damaging photos, the palace response was a slow-moving legal process involving high court injunctions and official statements, a battle fought over weeks and months. The Kardashian maneuver was the antithesis of this. It was instant, silent, and decisive, bypassing all legal and ethical fanfare. Insiders claim Harry's bewildered expression in the clip reflected his inability to process a power that operated outside the rigid boundaries of the establishment he knew. He was looking at a form of control that the royal family, with all its centuries of history, simply does not possess. This realization left him, according to sources, questioning the entire basis of their Californian exile and their supposed financial independence. The power struggle immediately intensified the whispers of a rivalry between the two prominent California couples. While the Sussexes focus on humanitarian efforts, documentaries, and high-minded speeches, the Kardashians have maintained their relevance through continuous, unfiltered, though highly managed, access to their personal lives. The alleged removal of the viral photos was seen by some in Hollywood as a subtle but brutal declaration of war, a signal that the established American celebrity queens would not allow a pair of British expatriates to steal their spotlight, especially not with unauthorized, messy viral content. It was a move that said, "We control the narrative, not you." Furthermore, the nature of the alleged photo purge required complex coordination with multiple social media platforms, access that is rarely granted even to the highest government agencies, let alone public relations firms. Sources suggest the Kardashians possess deeply entrenched personal and financial relationships with the CEOs and senior executives of platforms like Instagram and TikTok. Relationships forged over more than a decade of providing consistent, high-value, exclusive user engagement. It is these relationships, insiders claim, that allowed them to expedite the takedown process, circumventing the standard 48-hour review periods and legal hurdles that typically slow the Sussex team. The viral clip allegedly revealed Meghan's understanding of the specific type of high-level access, an access that money alone cannot buy. The psychological impact on Harry and Meghan, as inferred by sources analyzing the alleged clip, would be profound. For a couple whose entire public image is built on battling and overcoming powerful forces, the realization that an American celebrity dynasty had casually exerted a superior form of control over their crisis is deeply humiliating. It shifts them from the role of victims, fighting the mighty British media, to the role of subordinates, being managed by the powerful American celebrity machine. The incident serves as a crucial inflection point, reminding the Sussexes that their royal titles are ultimately just labels in a market that prioritizes algorithms over aristocracy. Sources also speculate that the strategic intervention by the Kardashians was timed perfectly to coincide with one of their own major brand launches or media moments. By silencing the viral Sussex story, they cleared the digital airwaves, ensuring maximum attention for their own projects. This ruthless efficiency, prioritizing brand over reputation or personal feelings, is the essence of the modern celebrity enterprise. The alleged footage of Harry and Meghan's stunned faces is, therefore, a visual metaphor. For the moment they realized they were still playing by the old rules of fame, where one relies on lawyers and press secretaries, while their rivals were already manipulating the new rules, where one controls the server. The digital purge was not just about the removal of images, it was the removal of the Sussexes' illusion of control. It taught them, in the most brutal way possible, that in California, the real royalty does not wear crowns. It controls the content streams. The immediate aftermath of the digital purge, as detailed by sources tracking the Sussex operation, was not one of anger directed at the Kardashians, but one of urgent, almost panicked reassessment within Harry and Meghan's inner circle. The alleged viral clip showing their initial shock quickly gave way to a strategic scramble. The new crisis was no longer the photos themselves, but the terrifying deficit of digital infrastructure they possessed compared to their rivals. Insiders claim the main takeaway for the Sussex team was that their entire security and public relations framework, developed to fight the slow-moving conventional press, was obsolete in the face of hyper-efficient digital power. The Sussexes, according to reports, immediately began diverting resources towards understanding and replicating the kind of platform influence the Kardashians seemed to command effortlessly. This realization fueled a sense of urgency, marking a pivot away from purely traditional media engagements, like high-profile magazine interviews, toward a desperate push for deeper, more entrenched relationships with the major social media and streaming CEOs. They understood that their royal titles might open the door for a courtesy meeting, but they did not guarantee the kind of takedown power that the Kardashians had just demonstrated. The titles were a status symbol. Platform influence was the actual weaponry. For Prince Harry, this incident served as the most tangible proof that his decades-long conflict with the media was built on an outdated battleground. He had always viewed the threat through the lens of print newspapers and broadcast news. The silent, instantaneous nature of the photo removal forced him to grasp the true nature of 21st century power. Sources close to him suggest he found the surgical nature of the digital purge unsettlingly similar to the quiet, decisive operations of the royal family's intelligence and security wings, but applied to the far messier world of celebrity. The shock, therefore, was recognizing the precision of the attack and realizing they were its victims, not its wielder. The psychological dimension of the alleged viral clip is perhaps the most telling aspect, particularly concerning Meghan. Sources claim her reaction was one of immediate, clear understanding. The realization that they had been outmaneuvered by a superior business intelligence. Unlike Harry, who saw the political implications, Meghan reportedly saw the professional failure. They had failed to calculate the immense, non-traditional power held by those who essentially own the attention economy. The incident highlighted a crucial point. The Kardashian brand thrives on controlling when and how content appears, a mastery of the algorithms that ensures their narrative always dominates. The Sussex brand, conversely, is perpetually playing catch-up, relying on reactive measures. Furthermore, the timing of the alleged purge raised internal questions within the Sussex team about potential sabotage. While the simplest explanation was self-interest by the Kardashians, some insiders reportedly speculated whether this was a coordinated warning or a demonstration aimed directly at intimidating the Sussexes away from certain media spaces. The very ambiguity of the attacker, no official statement, no credit taken, made the action even more powerful, leaving Harry and Meghan wrestling with the terrifying uncertainty of unseen superior rivals. The power structure was communicated not through a press release, but through a void, the empty space where the viral photos used to be. The long-term impact of this event, according to celebrity strategists, is that the Sussex brand will now be irreversibly shaped by the need for digital supremacy. They can no longer rely solely on their historical titles or high-minded projects. They must now compete directly in the brutal, fast-paced, and low-fidelity world of algorithmically driven content, a space historically dominated by their rivals. The alleged clip captured the very moment the Duke and Duchess of Sussex realized their path to A-list celebrity required more than just fame. It required the keys to the digital kingdom. And those keys, they allegedly learned, were currently held by the powerful family they had perhaps mistakenly dismissed as mere reality television stars. The incident underscores the cold reality that in America, power is decentralized, held by those who control the platforms, not the protocols. And somewhere in California, the couple is now operating under the stark, silent threat that the same unseen force that made a viral scandal disappear could, with equal ease, ensure that the next inconvenient truth about the Sussexes is allowed to spread, viral, unchecked, and devastatingly fast. The lesson, delivered surgically and silently by their digital superiors, was unforgettable.